This is the talk of town. As you can see, cleanup is still underway here. It's like a reflection of last weekend. More rain on the way. With more than half of the House of Representatives co-sponsoring this bill, it was no surprise that the Assault Weapons Act cleared the House. Local officials told me this close call shouldn't have happened, as the crosswalk is clearly marked and even includes flashing lights. Still, people who live in this area tell me this road is dangerous. There's the corn oil tanker, and that cap blew off all the way here, hundreds of feet to hit this telephone pole, taking a good chunk of it too. Take a look at this. This tree was split in half by what is now a confirmed tornado. But to really show you that power of that tornado, we're gonna take you in here where this giant oak tree was blown over. Changes that are keeping locals hooked. Demolition of the bridge is expected to be complete by the end of the year, but construction could start as soon as the design for the new bridge is complete. Juan Francisco Mendez spent most of the time at the detention center praying and reading the Bible. When he could, he would talk to his son, promising he'd be back soon. And on Thursday, he got to keep that promise. Juan Francisco Mendez holds his son tighter after being separated from his family for more than a month.
I would dream of my family, happy outside. Then I would wake up locked up in a place where my family is nowhere near.
This comes after ICE agents broke the back window of his car to detain him. ICE defends the action, saying Juan was resisting arrest and not following orders, but his attorney disagrees.
I would urge them to read the Constitution and understand that regardless of a person's immigration status, there are certain rights that people have.
Ondine Galvez Sniffen says Juan doesn't have a criminal record, and it wasn't until this week that ICE actually filed charges against Juan for entering the country illegally, something they do admit, as Juan is still waiting to learn whether or not he'll receive the same asylum status as his wife.
I'm not a delinquent or a criminal. The only thing I'm trying to do is put a plate of food on the table for my family.
On Thursday, a judge granted Juan a $1,500 bond, allowing him to finally leave the New Hampshire detention facility. But he says he doesn't feel free, as he's being forced to wear an ankle monitor.
So the judge did not order this, and they said these are our restrictions. Okay, but the judge's order trumps whatever restrictions you plan on imposing, and they did not see it that way at all. So to me, it seems like ICE has become so emboldened that they're acting outside the law.
Sniffen and the Mendez family says they'll keep fighting.
It won't be easy, but we'll keep going.
And their hearts go out to other families who may be experiencing a similar situation.
Don't lose faith or hope. Like they say, after the storm comes the calm.
Juan does have his first check-in in Vermont on Tuesday. That's when he'll learn more information about how often he needs to check in, as well as whether it has to be in person or online. Reporting in New Bedford, I'm Torres-Perez, 12 News. There are a lot of kids in this neighborhood, so you can imagine the heartbreak and emotion that neighbors are feeling after tonight's deadly crash, and now they want something to be done. A bicycle with training wheels laid on the ground in the middle of the intersection of Mason Street and 10th Avenue. After Woonsocket police say the 3-year-old boy riding it was hit and killed by this blue SUV.
There's nothing you can say. I don't have any words. I don't have the words. I don't.
Willie Scurry IV didn't really know the little boy, but described him as a bright light who loved to play with everyone and brought a smile to his face.
Hey, y'all. That was his favorite thing. He would say, hey, y'all, to us. You know, and we're just going to miss him riding through our little neighborhood.
At this time, it's still unclear if the driver will face any charges as police investigate what happened, but Scurry and other neighbors say speeding has been a long-time issue in the area, and they want the city to take action.
What are they waiting for? Enough is enough. We are sick of this.
Neighbors now calling for speed bumps or cameras to be added to get people to slow down and prevent a similar tragedy from happening again. Do you hope this is kind of like their wake-up call?
I hope so. I really hope so. Not the way that we want it, but I hope so.
The name of the child and the driver has not been released at this time, as it is still early in the investigation. Reporting in Woonsocket, I'm Torres-Perez, 12 News. When Father Damien Day was still a student here at Providence College, he ended up going on a trip with some friends to Rome, where he met the Pope, a small encounter that ended up shaping the rest of his life. Bells around the world rang after the death of Pope Francis was announced. At St. Dominic's Chapel in Providence College, black drapes hang on the outside as people pay their respects inside. For Father Damien Day, Pope Francis's death came as a surprise.
He seemed to have been making a recovery. He came back from the hospital and was even seen in St. Peter's Square yesterday on Easter.
Day is now keeping his personal memories of Pope Francis close to his heart. He was studying abroad in Rome when he first met the Pope.
I'd heard of this tradition of pilgrims taking zacchetto, the white skull cap that the Pope wears, of getting one and exchanging one with him.
So Day and his friends decided to follow tradition, getting the cap and putting a sticky note inside that read, "Providence College loves Papa Francesco." Day remembers waking up early on a Wednesday morning to make sure they got a spot near the barrier to get the Pope's attention. He never expected the Pope to actually stop.
So he took it, he looked down and he said, "Oh, Providence College." And then he took it, put it on his head for a minute, and just kind of said a prayer.
For Day, who was a college student still trying to figure out his life at the time, this moment felt like a sign from God.
God, gave me this special moment with the Holy Father. Maybe this is part of his, giving me some direction with my life.
After graduating college, Day chose to enter the Dominican order and study priesthood. He now hopes to follow Pope Francis's footsteps and share the same joy that inspired him.
That's something that I try to model, is to share the joy of the Lord with others, to share the joy of the gospel in my preaching.
Providence College will host several masses this upcoming week in honor of Pope Francis. Reporting in Providence, I'm Torres-Perez, 12 News.
He just kept saying, "You call 911 and you leave, you'll see what's gonna happen. I'm done," he said. I just looked at my phone and he didn't even think twice, and he just pulled the trigger. And I yelled at him and I said, "Seamus, look what you did. You killed our son, Seamus."
It was devastating. It's horrific. It was the most heartbreaking case that we had dealt with in quite a while.
There are many guys and women that work here that I've never seen rattled in a way that I did, that day.
Nothing's gonna be the same for the rest of my life. It's been pretty tough. I don't like to show it, but it's like unbearable pain.
I will not hide anymore the truth. And I will honor him by standing by the truth.
The killing of 4-year-old Liam Dempsey at the hands of his father, Seamus, last year shook Warwick, leaving many to wonder how something like this could even happen. We may never know the answer to that question, but Estefania Dempsey is ready to share her story, to not only remember and honor her son, but to also raise awareness about domestic violence. She's hoping her painful story will help prevent another similar tragedy from happening again.